One early morning in the heart of vibrant Nigerian village, Nneka woke up with a sense of purpose. The village was bustling with life as women in brightly colored wrappers and headscarf haggled animatedly with traders at the market stalls. Children played with improvised toys, their laughter mingling with the chatter of the marketplace. The aroma of the street food wafted through the air, mingling with the sounds of vendors calling out their wares. In the lively setting lived a young woman named Nneka. Her home, a modest but lovingly maintained structure at the edge of the village, was adorned with hibiscus and frangipani flowers, blooming in a riot of color. Nneka, a graceful, young and strong woman with a kind but determined spirit, stood at the window, lost in thought as she arranged a bouquet of freshly picked flowers. Each flower she arranged was a testament to the resilience she had built within herself. Her husband, Obi, tall and handsome but burdened by unspoken worries, entered the room. His eyes lingered on Nneka, but the unspoken tension between them filled the room. "The flowers are beautiful, Nneka. They brighten the whole house," he said softly, with forced cheer. Nneka offered a small smile, sensing the weight behind his words. She placed the last flower in the vase, turning to face him. "Thank you, Obi. How was work today?" "It was busy as always. The fields demand everything and give so little back," Obi replied, sighing, his eyes avoiding hers. A heavy silence hung between them, filled with unspoken questions and doubts. Their shared longing for children had cast a shadow over their once happy marriage. That night, the village came alive with music and the rhythmic beats of drums. Lanterns flickered in the night, casting a warm pool of light on the gathering of villagers. Men and women, young and old, sat around a large bonfire, their faces illuminated by the dancing flames. Elder Ifeanyi, wise with the presence that commands respect, stood to address the crowd. His voice resonated with authority as he spoke. "We honor our traditions, but we must also embrace change. Our ancestors guide us, but our future is ours to shape." The crowd murmured in agreement, nodding their heads. Nneka sat beside Obi, her expression of one of deep contemplation. She felt the weight of societal expectation pressing down on her shoulders. In a world where tradition dictated destiny, Nneka felt the chains of expectation tighten around her. Later that night, Nneka and Obi lay in bed, backs turned to each other. The room was dimly lit, the air thick with unspoken tension. Nneka stared at the ceiling, tears brimming in her eyes. "Obi, what if we never have children? What if we fail our ancestors?" she asked, her voice trembling. Obi turned towards her, his face a mixture of frustration and love. He reached out his hand, gently touching her shoulder. "We must keep faith, Nneka. The ancestors will bless us in their time." Nneka closed her eyes, letting silent tears fall. The weight of unfulfilled dreams settled heavily in the room. The next day at the village market, Nneka moved through the stalls, greeted warmly by the village vendors. Her eyes were drawn to the stalls selling brightly colored fabrics, and she stopped to examine them. Suddenly, Madame Ifeoma, with an air of mystery and cunning, appeared beside her. Her eyes glinted with a mixture of sympathy and hidden motives. "Nneka, my dear, I hear whispers of your struggles," Madame Ifeoma said softly. Nneka looked up, startled by Madame Ifeoma's presence. She hesitated, weary of the village gossip. Whispers travel quickly in our village, Madam Ifeoma. Madam Ifeoma nodded, her expression a blend of kindness and something more calculating. Sometimes, the answers we seek are found in unexpected places. Trust those who have walked the path before you. Nneka nodded, her heart a mixture of hope and desperation. She knew the power of words and the danger of misplaced trust. Later, in Madam Ifeoma's home, filled with herbs and artifacts, the air heavy with incense, Nneka sat across from her, feeling a sense of both trepidation and hope. Shelves lined with jars and mysterious powers and roots created an atmosphere of mystique. There are remedies that can help, but trust must be your guide, Madam Ifeoma said softly. Nneka nodded, unaware of the betrayal that lurked beneath Madam Ifeoma's kind facade. That night, in the secret room filled with the scents of burning herbs, Madam Ifeoma spoke in a hushed tone with her daughter, Ada. Ada, beautiful but with sharp and calculating mind. Ada, you will be the light that shines in Obi's path. Nneka cannot give him what he needs, Madam Ifeoma whispered. Ada's smile was cunning, a glint of ambition in her eyes. I will do what must be done, mother. Trust me. A few days later, Nneka walked back from the market, her basket filled with fresh produce. She noticed Obi talking to Ada in a distance. Their conversation animated. A pang of unease gripped her heart as she watched them, her intuition nagging at her. Obi smiled wilder, his eyes brighter, as Nneka gazed, her mind filled with questions. That evening, as Nneka prepared dinner, the aroma of fresh spices filling the air, the kitchen was warm and inviting, a stark contrast of the turmoil within her. Obi entered, seeming distant. Nneka decided to confront him about her concerns. Obi, who is that woman you were speaking with today? She asked tentatively. Obi hesitated, washing his hands at the sink. He kept his back to her, his voice casual but strained. Oh, that's Ada, Madam Ifeoma's daughter. She's been helping with some village projects. Nneka nodded, sensing there's more to the story. Her mind was a storm of doubts and suspicions, but she pushed them aside, hoping for the best. A seed of doubt has been planted, watered by whispers and glances that lingered too long. Days turned into weeks, and Ada began visiting the house more frequently. Her presence was like a storm cloud hanging over Nneka's marriage. Ada constantly belittled Nneka under the guise of helpfulness. The room was bright with sunlight, but Ada's words cast shadows. Nneka, let me handle that. After all, you should conserve your energy, considering, Ada said mockingly. Nneka gritted her teeth, swallowing her pride and hurt. Her hands clenched into fists, hiding behind her back. Maybe Ada is right, Nneka. She's just trying to help, Obi said, turning to Nneka. Nneka felt isolated but refused to give up on her marriage. The emotional weight was heavy, but she clung to the hope that things might improve. Nneka's heart was a battleground of love and doubt, each vying for supremacy. That night, as Nneka and Obi lay in bed, Nneka's voice was soft, almost pleading. Obi, I know I have struggled to give you children, but I still believe in us. Please, let's not let this tear us apart. Obi turned away, guilt mingling with frustration. He stared at the ceiling, words trapped behind clinched teeth. It's not easy, Nneka, but we will see how things go. Nneka closed her eyes, praying for a miracle. Her heart ached with the weight of unfulfilled dreams. One afternoon, Nneka played with Ada's children in the garden, their laughter mingling with the rustle of the trees. But Ada's eyes were cold as she watched from the porch. The garden, once a place of solace, now felt like a stage for Nneka's humiliation. Nneka, get away from my children. I won't have you putting your bad luck on them, Ada said sharply. Nneka stopped, her heart dropping at the accusation. Her hands trembled as she stepped back. I would never hurt them, Ada, she said defensively. Ada's smirk was cutting, her eyes gleaming with triumph. Tell that to your empty cradle. Ada's words stung, but Nneka held her ground. Obi, who had heard the exchange, approached, his face hardening. Ada says you have been causing trouble, Nneka. I can't have that in my home, he said coldly. The words cut deeper than Nneka could have imagined. Her heart twisted painfully, but she refused to let the tears fall. That night, Ada confronted Obi, her voice a mix of false concern and manipulation. Obi, you must see how she envies us. She's a danger to our children, she said convincingly. Obi, worn down by Ada's constant influence, finally agreed. The resignation in his eyes spoke of a man caught in a web of his own making. You are right. Nneka needs to leave, he said resignedly. The next day, at the village courthouse, the villagers gathered, their whispers a constant buzz in the air. Nneka stood before the village court, her head held high despite the humiliation. Unknown to Obi, Nneka was now pregnant. The judge, sympathetic but firm, said, Nneka, Obi has filed for divorce. It seems there's little that can be done. Nneka nodded, accepting the finality of the situation. She was aware that her dream had crumbled, but she refused to crumble with them. Strength is not in what you endure, but in the courage to begin anew. Now visibly pregnant, Nneka walked through the village square with a new determination. She was greeted with a mixture of sympathy and respect by the villagers. Her strength and dignity earned her their admiration. The sun was bright, casting a warm glow over the bustling market. With each step, Nneka shed the chains of her past and embraced the promise of tomorrow. Later, Nneka visited Mr. Chukwuemeka, an old gentleman known for his wisdom and kindness. He offered her support and a listening ear. The room was filled with rich scents of coffee, the sound of bird chirping outside the window. Nneka, you have endured more than anyone should have to, but your spirit remains unbroken, Mr. Chukwuemeka said gently. Nneka smiled, feeling a warmth in his words. A spark of hope flickered to life within her. Thank you, Mr. Chukwuemeka. Your kindness means more than you know, she said softly. In the following days, Nneka and Mr. Chukwuemeka spent time together in his garden, surrounded by blooming flowers. Their conversations were filled with laughter and understanding. The garden was a riot of flower, a testament to nature's resilience. You have a light in you, Nneka, that shines brighter with every trial you face, Mr. Chukwuemeka said, smiling. Nneka felt a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. She reached for his hand, his fingers intertwining. And you, Mr. Chukwuemeka, have a way of making even the darkest days seem bright, she said teasingly. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, a foundation of mutual respect and love. Soon, they stood at the altar of the modest and beautiful church, filled with close family and friends. Nneka and Chukwuemeka exchanged vows in an intimate ceremony. The air was filled with scents of flowers and the sounds of birds singing outside. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride, the pastor said warmly. Chukwuemeka gently lifted Nneka's veil and kissed her, sealing their union with love and hope for the future. In the embrace of the new beginning, Nneka found the strength to build a future rich with promise. Few years passed. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow on Nneka and Chukwuemeka's home. The garden was lush and vibrant, a testament to the love and care Nneka poured into it. The camera panned to the garden, where Nneka played with her children. Her oldest son, Ikechukwu, now 8, bright-eyed and full of energy, chased his younger siblings around the yard. Nneka found solace in her new life with Chukwuemeka. Together, they nurtured a family that thrived in love and understanding. The children's laughter was infectious, echoing through the garden. "Be careful, Ike. Don't trip your sister," Nneka laughed. "I am the fastest, Mama. They can't catch me," Ike giggled. Chukwuemeka stood nearby, watching his family with pride. He wrapped his arm around Nneka, who leaned onto him. "I think he gets that from his mother," he said teasingly. Nneka smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace. The love in her eyes mirrored the joy she felt in her heart. One day, the sound of footsteps crunching on gravel was heard as Obi approached the front porch. He hesitated at the door, anxiety written on his face. With a deep breath, he knocked gently. The sky was overcast, mirroring his tumultuous emotions. Nneka opened the door to find Obi standing there. The years had softened him, but there was a visible weight on his shoulders. "Obi, what brings you here?" she asked, startled. Obi shifted uncomfortably, his eyes downcast. "I have come to see my son." If that's all right with you," he said softly. Chukwuemeka stepped forward, offering a welcome smile. "Of course, Obi. You are welcome here," he said warmly. Nneka, surprised by Chukwuemeka's generosity, nodded in agreement. "Yes, you can see Ike." In the garden, Ike was playing with his siblings when Obi stepped in. His presence made Ike pause, curiosity and uncertainty crossing his face. The garden was alive with color, a testament to the care and love it received. "Hello, Ike. Do you know who I am?" Obi asked cautiously. Ike's eyes widened with recognition. "Mama said you are my other father," he said, furrowing with his brow. Obi nodded, a mixture of emotion playing out on his face. "Yes, I am. I have missed seeing you grow up," he said sincerely. Ike looked up at Obi, sensing the sincerity in his words. "Do you want to play?" he asked with a small smile. Obi's eyes filled with tears of gratitude as he nodded. I had loved that, he said, smiling. The laughter of father and son filled the garden. That evening, the family gathered around the dining table for dinner. Obi joined them. A new sense of ease settling over him. Laughter and stories filled the room, creating an atmosphere of warmth and belonging. Chukwuemeka raised his glass, toasting to family and new beginnings. To family, to forgiveness, and to beautiful surprises life brings, he said. The family echoed the toast, their glasses clinking in harmony. The moment was a tapestry of shared hope and renewed bonds. Next day, Obi walked through the village, reflecting on his life. He saw Ada and her daughters, a family he had long lost touch with. The village was alive with the hustle and the bustle of everyday life. Obi, I heard you have been visiting Nneka and Ike. Ada said, approaching him. Obi nodded, a mixture of regret and determination in his eyes. Yes, I have. It's time I make amends where I can, he said. Ada smiled, a hint of wistfulness in her eyes. The years had softened her too. We all make choices, Obi. I hope you find the peace you are looking for, she said softly. Obi nodded, grateful for the unexpected moments of understanding. Past was a shadow, but he was determined to step into the light. That night, Nneka and Chukwuemeka were cleaning up after dinner. The children were in the living room playing quietly. The clatter of dishes and the murmur of happy voices filled the air. Nneka leaned against the counter, reflecting on the day. Life is strange, isn't it? How it led us down this path we never imagined, she said thoughtfully. Chukwuemeka placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. His touch a balm to her soul. Yes, but every path leads to where we are meant to be. And I am glad it led you here, with me, he said, smiling. Nneka smiled, gratitude filling her heart. You always know what to say, she teased. Her laughter mingled with the sound of the children, a symphony of family and love. The village was alive with celebration. Music and laughter filled the air as lanterns lit up the night sky. Nneka, Chukwuemeka, and their children were among the crowd enjoying the festivities. The beat of drums pulsed through the crowd, a heartbeat of communal joy. Time has a way of healing old wounds, and with healing comes new possibilities. Obi approached Nneka and Chukwuemeka, a newfound sense of peace about him. Thank you for allowing me to be part of my son's life. I am grateful for the chance to know my son, he said, smiling. Chukwuemeka nodded, offering a hand to Obi. We are glad to have you here, Obi. Family is family, he said earnestly. Nneka watched as her past and present came together, finding a harmonious balance. Years later, Nneka and Chukwuemeka sat on the porch, watching their children play with their grandchildren. The garden was lush and vibrant as ever. The sun set, casting a golden glow over the scene. In the tapestry of life, love weaves the strongest threads, binding hearts and healing wounds. Mama, Papa, come join us, Ike called, approaching. Nneka and Chukwuemeka rose, joining their family in the garden. Laughter and love filled the air, a testament to the enduring strength of family. The second child of Nneka and Chukwuemeka grew to become the governor of the state, while the third child became the Attorney General of the Federation. Here are the morals of the story. 1. Life is filled with unexpected challenges. No matter what you go through, please always tell yourself that you have the capacity in you to overcome every challenge that is thrown at you. Please, you have to learn that you must not fulfill societal expectations so that you can have value. You have to have value yourself. Understand, place a very high value on yourself. The society must not define you. No matter what you are going through or what somebody has done you in this life, forgiveness is actually for your own, as in it benefits you. It's for your own benefits. Forgiveness helps you as a person to heal. Trust is a very big commodity. In life, we have to trust some people, but whom you trust goes a long way to what happens to you in this life. Be careful with whom you trust. The last thing we should take away from this story is that learning to move on from our past. For the fact that something is not working well for you does not mean you should remain there. Because sometimes nature has a way of telling us that we have overstayed our welcome at a particular situation in our life. It's time to move on. Then if you refuse to move on, a lot of things will start happening to us. So watch it when you start having a lot of diverse situations, a lot of terrible things happening to you at a time. Watch it. Once things start getting worse, from worse to worse, it is time to move. Because unknown to Nneka in this story, she never knew that she had in her lineage somebody who can become Attorney General of the Federation and also a governor of a state. If not that she left her marriage, the new chapter in her life wouldn't have opened up. So learn sometimes to leave your past, to move away, know the timing of your life, to know when to move and leave a particular phase of your life to enter into a new phase. So this is the end of my story. My name is Ifeyinwa Ibekwe, and please do join me next Thursday again for another episode. Thank you for watching.